What's going on, YouTube? Welcome and thank you so much for visiting my channel today. First, if you haven't seen my videos yet, my name is Alyssa and I have a blog and of course this channel called The Self Pursuit. And this is where I discuss self-empowerment, limiting self-beliefs, and more specifically, the law of attraction. So if any of that good stuff interests you, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Please like this video if you end up enjoying it, of course. And of course, hit that bell icon that's down there somewhere so that you can be notified when I post new videos. In this video, I'm going to be discussing vibrations. What are vibrations? What do they mean for your reality? How do they tie into the law of attraction? You may recognize vibrations more as vibes, good vibes, bad vibes, right? And we can all pick up on vibes or vibrations. Some of us are just more aware of them or more sensitive to them than other people. And the reason I want to talk about vibrations today is that if you've watched my previous couple of videos, still a small channel, I've discussed how our subconscious minds have been holding us back from attracting great things into our lives. And this is because of these limiting self-beliefs that were programmed into our brains and by society, the media, other outside sources. And we've been holding on to these limiting self-beliefs for years and years without even knowing it. But I want to talk about vibrations next because this is such an important element to understanding what we're attracting into our lives and more importantly, why. But also I want to talk about this, of course, because of the time that we're living in where there's so much fear and anxiety and stress, panic, what have you, just kind of lingering in the world right now. So before I get into anything else, one thing that you have to understand is that everything is energy. You may already know this, but if you don't, everything is just energy. You, me, the trees outside, the cars we drive, look around the room or the area that you're in, every object around you is just energy. Look down at your hands right now. They're just energy, as is the floor under you, as is the device that you're using to watch this video on. Everything is energy. You got that right? And energy moves in waves or little bounces. And these waves are the vibrational frequencies that all things energy are constantly moving at. And while we can't necessarily see these movements, of course they're there, and a lot of us can actually feel them or pick up on them, hence the good vibes, bad vibes. That's why you can sometimes just sense when a complete a-hole walks into a room before they even say anything. That's because the negative energy that they're carrying around with them is just sitting so thick in the air that you can actually feel it. And of course, same goes for an extremely kind person. We tend to feel better being around people who happen to vibrate at a higher frequency than the make-believe douchebag from scenario A. So you got that we're all just energy vibrating at different frequencies, but how exactly does that tie into the law of attraction? Well, as it turns out, energy attracts like energy. I'm going to repeat that. Energy attracts like energy. And that is so important to drill into your brain because that means that whatever frequency that you've been vibing at, you're attracting events, people, and things that are vibrating at a similar frequency that you are. Energy attracts like energy. So whatever's going on up there in your mind is what's going to manifest into your current physical reality. Understand that everything that's manifested or created was once just a thought, because thoughts, of course, are also energy. There are people who say that the law of attraction doesn't work, but it's undoubtedly always working. We are always attracting, good or bad, but a lot of people have just been chilling in a lower frequency, attracting like frequencies, because like I said, energy attracts like energy, so they can't see the positive evidence of it actually working for them in their favor at that. So the first step is determining where you're at vibrationally, and you're in luck because I have a chart. Hopefully the chart popped up. I'm still learning how to edit. So there are different levels of vibration, and our energies all align with these, no matter what. So the lower frequencies, we've got shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, and desire, just to name a few. By the way, I recommend that you come back to this chart just to kind of narrow down where you're at throughout the day. You can Google it. It's called The Scale of Consciousness, and it was discussed in Dr. David Hawkins' book, Power versus Force. So for example, if you've been trying to manifest money or a great relationship or a great job, you've been living in a state of lacking or wanting those things in your life. So what root emotion or emotions do you think would tie into that? Could it be fear? Maybe you fear money or having to deal with an abundance of it. Maybe you're afraid of losing money. I know that was a big block for me, losing money, the fear of losing money rather. Maybe you're afraid of attracting a great job because you don't think that you'd be able to perform to that standard. Maybe you're feeling guilt towards attracting a great relationship. Maybe you don't feel like you're worthy of having a healthy relationship with somebody. So maybe the thought of attracting one just maybe subconsciously makes you feel guilty or uncomfortable or something. And of course, we can't forget about desire. Maybe you grew up in an environment where lack was the dominant energy or wanting was the dominant energy, and you always desired to have things that you couldn't and envied those who did. This could be said for attracting anything. These are just some common, minute examples. But either way, being in a state of wanting for so long causes us to go into desperation, which of course keeps us at a lower vibration. And that makes it difficult to attract high vibrational goodness into our lives. Desperation is needy, and needy is not cute, not even to the universe. So by being needy or in a state of wanting for so long, you're actually creating resistance to what you're trying to attract. When you're stuck in these lower vibrational frequencies of desire, shame, fear, guilt, what have you, that's what keeps coming back at you. And most of us are trying to attract directly from a state of desperation. And again, energy attracts like energy. So that's why a ton of people give up on law of attraction practices altogether and just assume that it doesn't work. They skipped the lesson on vibrations. So, what is the best way to raise and maintain our vibrations and start attracting good things into our lives? You may have guessed it. Meditation. I promise this is not something that you want to skip out on or underestimate in any way. Doing inner work is a highly important step in this entire process, and the first one that you really need to go into. And if you're not willing to put in some inner work, you're allowing your ego to get in the way of your journey, and you'll be blocking your subconscious from being reprogrammed, which is the whole point in doing this. Because obviously there's something that's been blocking success, wealth, relationships, what have you, from entering your life, and finding out exactly what's been blocking those things and how to fix it starts from looking from within. I skipped this at first. I didn't think I needed meditation. I thought me, myself, and I were fine with each other. So I didn't get the results that I wanted at first. In fact, things in my life got worse from when I had started. So I started losing hope in the entire process. Then I started meditating, and my reality started shifting in so many ways because it allowed me to let go of things that don't serve me. Limiting self-beliefs, and for me, the biggest thing was feeling unworthy and undervaluing myself. I didn't know I was doing that my whole life. I had no idea, and a lot of other people don't know either. I know I said that previously I wouldn't talk about myself very much, but I realized that I'm sort of a prime example for a lot of this stuff. So story time. I grew up being very sick as a kid, so I missed a lot of school. And because I was so behind, I needed extra attention in class. So the schools or whomever labeled me as learning disabled. That sucked. I always felt behind. I always felt frustrated. I had to go to summer school for a few years. It was all bad. So I carried around the belief that I just wasn't smart. Therefore, I wasn't capable of accomplishing certain things in life. And I thought that making a lot of money was just a fantasy in my mind that only super smart or super lucky or super confident people can obtain, right? And I just didn't see myself as one of those people. So I carried through those beliefs around through childhood and adulthood, not even knowing it, not even knowing that I was carrying on to these false beliefs. So I was just attracting what I thought was just bad luck along the way. Oh, and to add to that, not to stay on the topic of me for too long, but I also grew up in a verbally abusive household. So, of course, there were a lot of feelings of just being unworthy or not good enough, which I'm sure a lot of you can relate to. And those things also started to really resonate for me over time. And by the way, that didn't come from either of my parents, my mom or dad. They're both amazing, so love you guys. Just wanted to clear that up. So between the jobs and relationships that I'd settled for throughout all of my 20s, I realized that I kept attracting all of this into my life. And I did this by creating and maintaining these negative thought patterns. Sound familiar? Anyone? Comment sounds familiar in the comments below. If anything like that resonates with you, I just want to see if I'm reaching anybody out there. So like I said, just comment sounds familiar in the comments below. If you've attracted patterns of crappy jobs, toxic partners, or any series of, let's call them, unfortunate events in your life, comment sounds familiar. And just remember that we attract this. Whatever comes into our lives, we attract it based on the vibrations that we're giving off, which is why playing the victim gets us nowhere. And I know it's easy to do, I get it, because truly it's ultimately not our fault that we've been programmed this way. But it's time to start taking some responsibility for our decisions and our beliefs, whether we like it or not. And that'll actually help you take some of that control back. Anyway, so I realized I had all these beliefs about myself, these false negative beliefs that kept me from having the career of my dreams, making good money, and honestly just living a life of freedom, right? Or just however I chose to. So I started doing let that shit go meditations. And during these meditations, I actually pictured myself letting go of the limiting beliefs that my subconscious thought were serving me but weren't. And I remember how surprisingly uncomfortable letting go was for me at first. I pictured myself letting go of all of these things that have been holding me back for years, causing so much struggle and stress in my life. And it actually made me feel kind of sad to let these things go. It was like I was saying goodbye to a longtime friend. It was confusing. But that's the power of the subconscious mind. By the way, you can search for these meditations on letting go. There's no specific one that I'm referring to. These types of meditations have been recreated so many times. So you can find a ton of these right here on YouTube. Just search for guided meditations on letting go or something to that effect. But this type of meditation actually made me realize that my subconscious was attached to these negative self-beliefs and these negative patterns, simply because my subconscious didn't know that these beliefs weren't serving me anymore, that they were actually holding me back. My brain thought that they were protecting me by keeping me stuck in the comfy familiarity of being broke and unhappy with jobs, relationships, what have you. So letting go for me was kind of a process. And of course, my patterns kept repeating until I started questioning this reality. And honestly, just in general, meditation is just such an incredible way to clear negative energy to make way for positive energy. Even a few minutes a day can be incredibly powerful, but I was a mess when I started, so I dove right in. And I meditated every morning and before bed, and after a couple of weeks, I noticed that I was less anxious throughout the day. I started responding to stress versus reacting to it, which is a huge difference. I became more patient, and I actually started embracing those little daily annoyances as positive challenges, which was huge. So if you want to shift your mindset and start raising your vibrations, start with meditation. So that is it for today. Sorry, I know I ramble, but trust me, I will be continuously posting videos on vibrations and how to raise them. There are countless subtopics on the topic of vibrations that I will be covering consistently, and stay tuned, because in my next couple of videos I'm going to be sharing some other techniques that I've personally tried, and I'll be sharing my experiences of them with you. The first two are incredibly powerful manifestation methods that you don't want to miss. So if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell icon somewhere down there so that you get notified for these new videos. Again, you don't want to miss the next couple techniques that I'll be sharing with you. Also, please hit that like button if this video or any of this information resonated with you at all. And please comment down below if there's something that I talked about in this video that you have questions about, or just anything that you'd like me to discuss more in detail. Just go ahead and comment that down below. But other than that, I want to thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you all have a safe and wonderful rest of your day. And much love, and I'll see you next time.